Hello, and welcome to the Tuscaloosa Tunnel Through Time presented by Northridge High School. This tunnel is a collective timeline covering Tuscaloosa through the years 1880 through 1920. Northridge High School would like to wish Tuscaloosa a very happy 200th birthday. Let's begin our tour through the tunnel. Our tour begins with the history of the Bankhead Lock and Dam. Pictured here in this photograph is that of a steamboat near the Bankhead Lock and Dam on the Black Warrior River in Tuscaloosa County, Alabama. This image was taken around the early 1900s. The Bankhead Dam and Lock 17 were made in 1915 by the United States Army Corps of Engineers on the Black Warrior River. It was the final dam of 17 locks and dams between Mobile and Birmingham, and the last of the 17 in service to this day. Both the dam and its reservoir are named after John Hollis Bankhead. The reservoir has a holding capacity of 296,000 acre-foot. Pictured here is Episcopal Church and Rectory in 1905. Now, the Christ Episcopal Church was organized on January 7, 1828 by 13 men who elected the vestry that night. Architect William Nichols was hired to design the building within the first year. The church is decorated with beautiful stained glass windows and was also designated as a World Heritage Site. This is a coal miner in the 1880s. You will notice that this is a young boy. Young boys typically worked in the coal mines to make money for their families. This was deadly, though, as they sometimes contracted diseases. Sometimes the mines collapsed, killing all the miners inside. 19th century miners entered the mines equipped with the tools of their trade: picks, shovels, pry bars, breast augers, saws, axes, and tamping bars. Three-tiered dinner buckets contained their food and drinking water, and kerosene oil lamps provided dim, smoky lighting. After the turn of the 20th century, though, carbide lamps replaced the kerosene lights. Established in 1820, the University of Alabama is the oldest and largest of the public universities in Alabama. In 1880, the United States Congress granted the university 40,000 acres of coal land as partial compensation for the $250,000 in war damages. Some of the money went toward the building of Manly and Clarke Halls. In 1887, Clarke became the home of the library, whose 7,000 volumes had been destroyed. It was not until 1900 that private donations, including the donation of 1,000 volumes collected by John Leslie Hibbard's father, restored the library to 20,000 books. Garland Hall, which housed the Geology Museum and lecture rooms, completed what became known as Woods Quad. Twomey and Barnard Halls were also built before 1900. The university's first football team assembled, the Thin Red Line that later became the Crimson Tide. It was established in 1892. In 1893, the first women students enrolled for the fall semester at the university. This was due in large part to the successful lobbying of the UA Board of Trustees by Julia S. Tutwiler. Tutwiler, then president of the Livingston Normal College for Girls, was a lifelong advocate of the right of women to be self-supporting members of society. This image is actually a postcard of Broad Street, which is now University Boulevard, looking east, published by the American News Company out of New York. This photo of Broad Street in Tuscaloosa shows the Atlanta store with awning on the left. Other recognizable stores on this north side of the street are Tuscaloosa Drug Company and the J.H. Fitz Bank at 2312 Broad Street. The tall building in the middle is now De Palma's Restaurant, and the Maxwell Brothers store is across 23rd Avenue. Here is another image of Broad Street. In this image, a team of oxen hauls a load of logs down Broad Street at 23rd Avenue. The First National Bank is in the background. Note the condition of the city's main street. This street is now known as University Boulevard. It was changed in 1967. Pictured here is a typical middle-class Tuscaloosa family in the year 1915. Take note of the hats and bonnet common during this time. This family portrait is a great representation of a nuclear family and popular fashion trends. Men wore three-piece lounge suits, which are very similar to business suits today. Straw boater hats were popular among men. This image captures popular women's fashion in the 1910s. The silhouettes were softer. Women cut their hair shorter than in prior decades. Head coverings are a fashion trend that followed from Victorian and antebellum eras. The 1910s saw the shortening of dresses and exposed ankles on women. These changes among fashion exhibit the changing ideas of women's rights and their place in society. This map shows notable locations in Tuscaloosa in the year 1887. Notice how there is a K in Tuscaloosa. At this point in Tuscaloosa's history, C and K were used interchangeably in the spelling of the city and county name. The original K spelling is associated with Chief Tuscaloosa, for whom the city and county are named for. The C became the dominant spelling in the early 20th century. This brings us to the end of our tour. Thank you for traveling through this period of Tuscaloosa's history with us. We would like to thank everyone who helped make the Tuscaloosa Tunnel Through Time possible. Thank you to the Science Department for the research and PowerPoint on the Bankhead Lock and Dam. Thank you to the Math Department for studying and analyzing demographics, weather, and census information. Thank you to the English Department for researching fashion trends and people to come up with fantastic characters and scripts for our docents. Thank you to the Music Department for inspiring our musical selections used in the booth. Thank you to the Drama Department for helping provide costumes, furniture, and docents. Thank you to the History Department for finding photos and writing captions. Thank you to the library and various students for help with technology used throughout the booth. Thank you to the student newspaper, the Northridge Reporter, for looking up popular papers and headlines during our time period. Thank you to the strong young men who helped construct the booth. Thank you to the Art Department for the wonderful mural on the outside wall of the tunnel, which is seen at the beginning of this tour. Thank you to all teachers who volunteered to be chaperones and supported everyone in the creation of this booth. Thank you to our administration at Northridge High School. Thank you to everyone else who we might have missed that had a part in making the NHS Bicentennial Committee's dream come true. And last but not least, thank you Tuscaloosa for being awesome. Again, happy 200th birthday, Tuscaloosa. Northridge hopes you enjoyed Tuscaloosa Tunnel Through Time. See you around, and go Jags!